Hi everyone, this is Crystal, and I am back with week 4 in my 2020 Creativity Journal. This is a memory planner format. If you haven't seen previous videos about it, I'll be sure to link them down below in case you're curious what this book is all about and what I'm using to document it. So like I said, this is week 4. I have my photos already printed out. You can see it's kind of heavy towards the end of the week, which tends to be the case a lot of the time because I'm usually recovering from the weekend on Monday and Tuesday and trying to get ahead for the coming weeks. So yeah, I'm gonna try and leave these on the day when they actually happened, but if it starts to feel too kind of write heavy, then I will move things around a little bit. It doesn't bother me to do that. So for supplies for this week, I have the Possibilities kit from Citrus Twist Kits. This is the February Life Crafted kit, and I've pulled out a few things from that kit that I think will work. I try not to use too much dimension in this album because I want it to fit into the album that I have for it. So I've just pulled out some of the flatter things. I have the papers, the labels, the puffy stickers, and the ephemera pack. I also have the stamp sets that released in February, the 4x6 add-on, the Life Crafted stamp that came with the Possibilities kit, and then also the Traveler's Notebook stamp. And then I decided to try something a little bit different, and I printed both the printable cut-apart sheet and most of the journaling cards on sticker paper. So this is sticker paper, and I sized them all down to fit into these boxes. This is a template from Andrea of Retro Hip Company, Retro Hip Mama, and she provides the size of the boxes when you purchase her template. So I just used that and printed this off, and hopefully they're the right size. I haven't tested them yet, but I think they will likely work either way. So I just chose a few of them and printed them out, and then I had a little space, so I used that to create these smaller bits as well, just in the same width as the columns. And I'm gonna try and use these. I normally don't really pay much attention to these squares, but I thought it might be fun to give that a try and to be able to use some of the digital journal cards from this kit. So what I think I'm gonna do is go away and cut all this apart so that it's easier to deal with, so that you don't have to watch me trimming everything down, and then I will come back and put this spread together. Okay, so there you can see I have everything all cut apart, and I'm going to start by doing the thing that I always do and just kind of randomly plunking all the things down on the page to see what I might like where, I guess. So I have all the photos spread out. You can see I did move a couple over to the left side of the page just because there really wasn't room on the right side once I had all of them kind of spread out. So you saw me put everything down and then pick it up because I immediately didn't like it. And I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to lay everything out again, trying to figure out how I want things. And then I'm going to go through all of the embellishments that I have pulled out as well, and try and put those down on the page, and it's gonna look like a hot mess. So I was really excited to use this kit. I really love this kit, and I really wanted to use all the things, so I just kept adding to this page, and nothing is stuck down yet, so I haven't committed to anything, but I just kept adding more and more and more, and it was way too many colors, it was way too many things, and I end up just swiping the whole thing clean here in a second and starting over. So right now I'm going through all of those cut aparts that I cut out, and these are all on sticker paper. So these are the digital cut aparts that come with the Life Crafted kit when you're a subscriber, and like I said before, I printed them on white sticker paper just to try something new, and then I fussy cut them all out by hand. And can you see already how busy this page is looking? It's crazy. I don't know what I was thinking. It's definitely not working. I'm still gonna go through the ephemera pack too to see what I might want to use from this, but it's already looking insane. So here in just a minute, I'm literally going to take my hands and swipe everything off of both pages and start from scratch. So what I end up doing is is keeping a much tighter color scheme, which is much more in my wheelhouse. That's definitely something I'm much more comfortable with. I tried to use all the things. It definitely didn't work. I'm going to go back to what I know and stick to a more defined color scheme. And it's still going to have quite a few colors in it, quite a few more than I normally use on a single page, but it's going to feel much more pulled together than it does right now. So I am looking through the papers as well, but this is kind of when I start to think, okay, I need to really narrow down the colors I'm using here and stick to just a few of these. So here I go. I'm going to wipe everything off of both sides and start over. So I'm going to start by putting the photos back where I had them because I liked that layout. I liked where those were. So I'm just going to grab those out of the pile and put them back down where I had them. I'm not gluing anything down just yet. I am giving myself the option of moving them if I need to, but I like the way that they are, so I'm going to try and keep them. And then I'm going to be much more selective about the things that I pull back onto my page. So I really loved these two cards. There's one in the bottom right corner and one in the top left. They both have a quote on them. They're not the same color. One's kind of a purpley color and one is a dark green color, but they have the same kind of writing on them and the same kind of font. So I'm going to use both of those. I really liked both of those. But that meant that I decided not to use the black quote cards that I had originally had on the spread. I think I do try and pull one over, but it immediately just doesn't work with those other cards that I have. So they don't end up making it back on the spread. I did decide to add more of that dark teal color to the left-hand side since I had it in the bottom right. And to make sure it was in a third place, I cut a smaller piece to add into one of the other squares on the right-hand side. And now I am also playing with that pink and orange color combo that's in several of the pieces from this kit. So I have a piece of that floral paper just below the purplish quote card on the left hand side, and then I've added a little banner to that teal card on the right hand side as well to bring in some more of that. And you'll see I also have a little journal card. It actually might be really hard to see at the moment. The lighting somehow got very washed out on this video, and I don't know how it happened since I have the exact same lighting set up for every video I make, but it never seems to come out the same, which is really frustrating. But it's very washed out on the right hand side, so I apologize for that. But there is a card there that has some journaling lines on it, and it does have that same kind of pink and orange color scheme. So that's 3 spots where that occurs. And then I just went searching for another pink element since I added a pink card on the top right and a pink card on the bottom right, and then I needed a third spot where that pink was. So you can see I'm kind of showing you the 3 places where everything repeats, and that's generally what makes things look balanced to me, is if I can repeat all the colors in 3 places. Sometimes it's more than 3, but at least 3 places on the page, then it tends to feel cohesive and tends to feel balanced to me. So I'm doing the same thing with the kind of darker yellow orangey color that I have on the 21st at the top. So I added a label over to the 26th that has that same color on it, and I will bring that in a third place as well. So now just filling in the rest of the gaps. I don't end up filling in all the spaces. This is definitely more kind of blocky than my other spreads are, but I still don't fill in all of the squares with paper or embellishments. So now that I have it feeling pretty balanced to me, I'm going to start gluing things down. So I have a frame around this bottom quote card, so I added that frame first, and then I'm trying to peel off the sticker paper. So let me talk about these stickers for a second. It was a great idea. I was thinking how easy it would be to stick all of these little cards down in place if they had their own little sticky backing on them. And of course the sticker paper is a little less thick than the regular paper as well, so it doesn't add as much bulk. I thought, brilliant, I'll do this, it'll be great, except I think it took me twice as long as normal just because I had to try and peel off the backing of all of these little stickers. The sticker paper that I used has a split down the center, but it's one split down the center of the paper. And since I'm cutting up such tiny little things, most of them don't have the split on the back of them. So I have to try and peel away the corners. And yeah, it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. So I get it done, it's fine, and everything works out. But it took a lot longer than I had anticipated. And so I apologize for you having to watch that. Okay, so I'm just sticking everything down exactly where I had it. I am leaving a few things not adhered just yet. So I'm going to leave some of the embellishments, some of the little things that I had just sitting on top of the page, off the page, because I want to do some stamping, and I thought it might be easier to do that before I adhered them. So those few things I just set there, but I'll come back and adhere them in just a minute. So doing the same thing now to the left-hand side of the page, just gluing everything down where I had it, making sure that everything fits, because I did get these sized pretty well, but nothing fits exactly, of course. So there are some gaps here and there, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me to have little white gaps here and there. I could have sized everything just a little bit smaller, and then everything would have had a white gap around it. But I didn't do that. I just sized them to basically the size of the square, or the squares, so they don't all fit. And I didn't do that with the photos, obviously. The photos are just whatever size they needed to be to fit the width of the columns, not the actual height of the columns. So some of the photos are larger than one square, some are smaller. So I'm just, making it work, essentially. So right now I'm about to stick down this little tag, this little label, and I totally stick it down crooked. And I go to try and peel it up, and there is no peeling up this sticker paper. It does not come up off of these pages. So I'm going to have to live with that very crooked label, which is another reason why I may not use this sticker paper for this album again. I'm not sure. I mean, it was super convenient to size them all down and have them all on one page that I could just trim out. And it was nice to have the adhesive on them already, but I don't know. I think maybe the cons outweigh the pros for this one. But yeah, we'll see. So I had that kind of purple label in this square that I'm working on right now, but it was just a little too bold for me. So all I did was trim off some of the purple around the outside of the label, and that way I still get that color on the page, but it doesn't stand out quite as much as it was before. And then I just added that other little label right on top of it, and I trimmed that down as well to make it look like a label instead of just the rectangle that it was. So, by the way, those little rectangles are actually cards that you get in the digital journal card set. They're sized to fit the bottom pocket of the Life Crafted album inserts, the one with a 4x6 on the top, and then there's a 2x4, maybe 3. No, that's not right. Yeah, maybe it's 2x4. Yes. Anyway, they're sized to fit that pocket. I just shrunk them down to fit the width of these squares. So that's all those are. I did actually do the same thing with a couple journal cards because I had a couple extra spots. But yeah, you get those in the digital journal card set. Okay, so I have pretty much everything stuck down. A few things are still loose, like I said, because I wanted to do some stamping. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going through the stamp sets and picking out ones that work for this spread. And I didn't have a lot to say about this week. I know that I'm not going to have a huge amount of journaling, so I'm just kind of using the stamp sets as filler. It wasn't a super exciting week. I actually spent most of it working on a project that I had a deadline for. So I didn't do a lot of other crafting. These were things that were posted. I think only one of them is something that I actually completed this week. So yeah, I didn't have a lot going on. So I'm using these stamps just to just to fill in the empty spaces and to add some positive sentiments, which is part of the reason I do this book, is to encourage myself and remind myself why I do this hobby, why I spend so much of my time working on pages and doing videos and editing them and all that good stuff. So, you know, those positive sentiments really do help when I look back through this and I remember really what's important and why I do what I do. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of working out where the stamps are going to go and what else I can add to this page. I have not done my journaling yet. I'm about to step away and do that before I fill in all the blanks with stamping and then don't have anywhere to write the little bit of journaling that I do have. So I'm going to do that here in a second. I'm just kind of working out a few little bits and pieces before I do that. So I don't do the journaling on camera, but I will tell you that I just make lines on the page using a really small ruler, and then I use a gel pen to write in all of my journaling. So on some spreads I have typed in my journaling, but this one I was honestly just too lazy to get out my typewriter, so I just decided to handwrite my journaling. And there you can see it all done. Just a few small lines of journaling here and there about a few of the projects that I had posted and worked on, and then also an Instagram post that I included in this spread. So before I get finished, I need to add a title for this week, and this set, this Life Crafted kit, did not come with an alphabet set. It came with a phrase, a foam phrase sticker set. And I needed something to spell out week 4. So I went through my stash of stickers from previous Citrus Twist kits and found these that are the perfect shade of that purpley blue that matches the little bits that I have on my spread already. And they're super old. They are from I think sometime last year maybe. And I had enough to spell out week 4, so I was happy to have found them and happy to get them used. And I tried to add them to the page without my alignment tool, but of course that did not work out for me. I don't know why I try. So I grabbed my Thickers alignment tool and used that to make sure that the 2 lines of letters are straight. And then there is my title all done. So I'm nearly done. I am going to do a little bit more stamping, but I want to add a little cluster to the top of this page. It's looking just a little bit blank up there, so I am going to use a little scrap of paper that I just cut into a banner shape, and then I'm going to add a couple labels up there as well. I've kind of used that as a theme throughout this spread, adding labels kind of peeking out from the side of photos or the side of embellishments. So I'm going to do the same thing here at the top, just add 2 labels. One was a partial label that I had already cut off of one of the other labels on the spread, and the other one I just kind of trimmed. It was a circle that I just kind of trimmed in half and stuck those down. Okay, so I think the only thing I have left, I'm just looking at the embellishments to see if there's anything else I can stick on here, but I don't. It's plenty busy. I don't need to add anything more than what's there. The only thing I have left to do, I believe, is to finish my stamping. So I'm going to, again, grab the stamps and find a few more stamps to fill in those blank labels. So there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3 labels that don't have any stamping or writing in them, and I'm just going to fill those in with some of the stamps. I did think about adding those little heart die cuts. They're kind of like a little sketchy heart, but I decided instead to do some stamping and some doodling, which is another thing I can't seem to stop doing in this album. I did it last year as well in my creativity journal. I just liked the look of it being a little sketchy, a little doodly around the page. So I'm going to do that at the end. You'll see that in just a minute. But first, I am going to do some stamping. So for this label, I wanted to stamp the stamp that says it's something like worry less, relax more, something more relaxing, less worrying, something like that. But it was all in one line, and I needed it to be in 2, so I just used my scissors and trimmed it in half. It'll stick back together as a whole stamp if I want to use it as a single line later on, but this way I was able to easily stamp it in 2 lines without having to mask off either part of it. And then I'm also going to add two stamps to the label there in the center that I'm working on right now. There was one that said enjoying and another one that said magic. So I'm just going to stamp those two, one on top of the other. And I meant to go in and write with my gel pen after enjoying and before magic. So it said enjoying the magic, but I totally forgot to do that. So yeah, that you won't see that happen. I did after I realized it, after I was editing the photos, go in and write it just by hand vertically next to magic, but you won't see that in the photos. The last stamp that I added was in the little label part of that pink ticket, and then I'm going to add 3 of the butterfly stamps from the stamp add-on, and that is what's going to be the basis for my doodling. So that's where my doodling is going to go in each of those 3 spaces where the butterfly stamps are. I'm just going to make 3 little hearts and then do some dots, and that is going to be it for this spread. So I hope that you've enjoyed watching this process. I know it was a bit longer than usual, but it took me a while to figure out how to make this one work. But I'm glad that I did figure it out because I really love the end product. I think that the colors are really pretty and it's a little bit different than my other spreads, which I like. I like some variety. So the most important thing though is that I got these memories documented and I was able to get this page in my creativity journal done. So thanks again for watching. I will have all of the supplies I've used linked down below. If you have any questions about anything I've done or anything I've used, feel free to leave it in the comments and I will definitely get back to you. If you enjoyed this video, I do always appreciate a thumbs up, and if you aren't already a subscriber, I'd love to have you. So thanks again for watching. I will see you all back here very soon.